one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
This story comes to us from Fox 2 Detroit, where 2 Sterling Heights police officers were charged for misconduct and felonious assault for canine deployment on Tuesday during an arrest of a suspect where questions of excessive force have been raised. 31-year-old Officer James Sribniak and 29-year-old Jack Curry were criminally charged, according to an announcement by Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. Each officer is charged with 1 count of misconduct in office, a 5-year felony, and felonious assault, a 4-year felony. The case stems from a February 25th case during the pursuit and arrest of Gary Young of Roseville, accused of assaulting a police officer, resisting arrest, fleeing, domestic violence, and operating with a suspended license. The 2 officers have been on paid leave amid the investigation. Now, while the suspect was on the ground surrounded by officers and after having received 2 taser deployments, Officer Curry allegedly urged Officer Sribniak to deploy his canine to bite the suspect. Prosecutors say Officer Sribniak, controlling the canine, ordered the dog to bite the suspect, which he did, on the suspect's right hip. The use of force lasted about a minute, police say, and after it happened, Young was taken for medical attention for minor injuries.
This is the body cam video of the takedown of Gary Young by Sterling Heights police after officers tased him following a 13-mile high-speed chase on February 25th. The video shows an officer punching Young in the head repeatedly before another officer puts the canine to work. While that canine is biting Young from behind, you can hear officers instructing Young to put his hands behind his back. During that time, police say Young kicks an officer in the face. One of the officers then responds with punches and a kick to Young's head. Police say Young suffered minor injuries during the arrest. This afternoon, I asked the Sterling Heights police chief about his thoughts on the use of force by his officers.
Whenever police use force, it always looks bad. It always looks bad. Whether it's a takedown, a strike, a punch, the use of a canine in this situation, it never looks good. Use of force are judged by state law, federal law.
Now, quote from Dana Nessel, the Attorney General, canine assistance can be a valuable tool for law enforcement, but must be deployed with good judgment. Canine officers are rigorously trained in the proper use of police dogs and should be held to the highest standards of conduct. We should be able to trust them to not deploy a dog as an unnecessary and unlawful punitive measure to brutally attack a human being. In this incident, deploying the canine on a suspect already on the ground and well surrounded by officers is not only horrific, but illegal. My office remains committed to thoroughly investigating and prosecuting police misconduct, end quote. Now, Sribniak and Curry have not yet been arraigned, and future court dates have not yet been set. Young is accused of beating his girlfriend, ripping her clothes off, and choking her 16-year-old daughter who tried to stop him. Young then returned to the house while officers are there. They tried to get him to exit his vehicle 16 times. Police say that Young was fiddling with something inside the car and were warned he could be armed. Turns out it was pepper spray. Now, at the same time officers deployed stop sticks, Young fled in his vehicle and the sticks blew out one of his tires. Police, knowing he was drunk, I don't know how they knew he was drunk. Oh, he's drunk. Yeah, and already allegedly hurt a child, pursued him. Quote, we wanted to get him in custody and wanted to make sure that the people inside that house were safe, said Wojciechowski. What a name. And he goes on, and we thought that was the most prudent thing to do. Now, according to police, the chase lasted 13 miles, going through 6 red lights, almost hitting a pedestrian, and with Young receiving 2 more flat tires. Once Young's vehicle hobbled to a halt on 3 flat tires on Gratiot at I-94, police say he didn't surrender, and they issued 23 more commands to stop resisting. Now, there's so many questions in this story. I'm just going to be short here real quick and then I'll end. But the thing is, let's play the devil's advocate a little bit. Let's say this guy is guilty of, let's say he did do what the allegations say, that he did rip his girlfriend's clothes off and did choke her 16-year-old daughter. If he did, he choked this 16-year-old kid, let's just say he did, for argument's sake, then he's a scumbag. He's a douche. But that still does not warrant the police doling out punishment. Because, there's sometimes there's sometimes we want criminals to get punished. Like, we're like, yeah, kick his ass. Yeah. It's not right. Sorry, but it's not right. I mean, there's sometimes you just want to punch a douche in the face. You can't. I'll give you a quick example and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to quit, but I'm going to give you an example of something. So, this so-called reporter kept following me when I was out cop watching, and he would come up to me and get right in my face, and he bumped my arm a couple times, and he did it right as this cop was getting out of a car, San Bernardino PD. And I said, look, man, if you hit me again, I'm going to defend myself. I am. I'm going to knock your ass out. And the cop walked right up to me and said, I could arrest you right now for that statement. That's a felony. I could arrest you. And I'm thinking, yeah, but what about the guy over here bumping my arm and pushing me? You're going to look at him? No. When the cop walked away, well, two CHP guys who knew what was going on came up and they tapped the San Bernardino cop and they go, and then they all walked off. Well, that so-called reporter, he starts walking behind the San Bernardino PD guy like, Ike and Spike. Remember that with the two dogs, a big dog and a little puppy? Hey, Spike. All right, Spike. And I thought, oh, that's why the San Bernardino cop defended him. That's his buddy. My point is this. So I have this guy, like all up on me, and hey, I'll defend myself. I'll knock your ass out. And all of a sudden the cop wants to arrest me because that's a felony statement. But when cops do stuff like that, well, that's just part of the job, man. That's just, hey, you see what I'm saying? So even though this young, if he did what the allegations say, even though he might be a douchebag, the cops they can't just take action and just let the dogs bite him. And the attorney general called that out. She said, it's illegal. They assaulted this guy. You see what I'm saying? So I guess what I'm saying is, what am I saying? Yeah, even though we sometimes want to see that punishment doled out, according to the attorney general, it's still illegal. Can't do it. Can't do it. So it's time we start seeing these cops get punished for this stuff because they'd arrest you for doing it. Hey, man, that's assault. Arrest him. But then the cops do it, and, well, it's just part of the job. The attorney general says, no, we're charging them. The prosecutors are going after them. And they'll get punishment, like a year of probation. They'll quit. They'll go to some other city like Detroit or Flint, and they'll be cops again. How about that?